Trump had given an order, and so had NSC for some time, over to the Pentagon, that like it was almost like they didn't want to believe that what Trump said was true and he was going to hold them to it, like in terms of like, no, we're getting out of the Middle East. And so when Trump finally like drew the line and said, why are we not out of the Middle East? I've given you, or Syria specifically. And so, they both say two different things.
Which I have a question for you regarding that, because you're one of the few people we've spoken to who's been on the inside, even though, as you said, you left prior to the end of the administration. But pretty much, it's funny. Last show we were saying that the military is not a monolith. When we have people on, you're going to hear a million different opinions. But I would honestly say, by and large, pretty much every military person we've had on the show thinks that the withdrawal from Afghanistan was a disaster. But Trump was going to withdraw from Afghanistan as well. Do you have any inside knowledge of like how he would have done things differently, that we wouldn't have left all the equipment over there? Because a lot of people would also say there was no good way of withdrawing and it would have been a disaster no matter what.
So I think what would have been different is he would have left a sizable amount of a force to prevent the Taliban from taking Kabul or Bagram, in order to get our people out, in order to get our equipment out, and in order to get the like SIV, like the interpreters, the people who had worked with us, the American citizens, to get out. That's what I think would have been different. Would the outcome of Afghanistan been different in terms of the Taliban taking over? No, I have said that I've been shouting that from the rooftops for years and years prior to the withdrawal. I've been such an advocate to get out of Afghanistan, because of the way we ran the war, because of the strategy for what we were doing. We were no longer there to win the war. So I said, no, we don't need more American, 20-year-olds dying because we don't have a strategy to actually win something, because that wasn't what we were there to do anymore.
Yeah.
And so once that happened, I said it was time to go. And President Trump and the Trump administration got that it was a losing game. The outcome of Afghanistan was going to be the same, which was a Taliban ruling Afghanistan. The only difference was the withdrawal. Like, how were we going to go about it? I do think it would have been different if Trump had a little bit more time to do that. But I like, there were hundreds of American citizens left behind. So many of our SIV visa holders and interpreters, and just the optics, the sort of like information that gave our adversaries in terms of the withdrawal and how we handled it. It was about as, awful as you can get, as everybody saw in real time.
Oh yeah, I'll say it was a clusterfuck is what it was. Dang, there was. And I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time there as well. And we did those people that helped us to service. We were able to, we did get a few interpreters that I know, but I've lost two that I at least I think I don't know what happened to them. I no clue. But I agree with you. We weren't going to be there forever. I'm not an adverse war guy. I don't think there's a lot of guys that have served that are adverse war guys, but we should have done it more tactically. We shouldn't have left all of our shit there. And now we don't have that advantage, and we put our future soldiers, our future airmen, our future pilots at a disadvantage, because now our enemies have all those night vision capabilities, have all of our technological advances that we left there. And I don't think that's something that's not talked about. And I don't know why.
Yeah. How about the biometric data that was
holy crap? Yeah.
For like basically everyone we had ever worked with, any civilians that had worked with the military, people who had worked on bases, like stuff like that, like it was just left behind, like databases given to the Taliban because of the information that was left behind. And it was just really unreal that happened. And it's crazy because it seems like so many top level generals kind of just folded, like in terms of when the investigations were happening afterwards, when they testify in front of Congress, it was like Well, I mean, like Millie for like, it was just like they all contradicted themselves. So you
Yeah.
have like General McKenzie saying they like had to leave Bagram because that was an order of President Biden because of how many troop levels were allowed to be in country. And because it was so low, they weren't still able to hold Bagram. So they ended up leaving Bagram. Then you have Milley, the chairman of Joint Chief of Staff, completely contradicting him and being like, no, 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 no. Kabul was always the plan. Kabul was always like how we were going to evacuate the country, because, you know, politics is like surrounded that job these days. And so it's just like they couldn't even get their own story straight.
And it bothers me when I hear it was an order. I'm just following orders. I'm just, shut the hell up. No, you do what's right. If it means that you're going to get sacked from a job, if it means you might get fired from the CIA and never work for them again because you're doing the right thing, then you do the right thing. And tactically, for them to not think that doing what they were doing was not tactically sound, was going to put people at a disadvantage, was going to get people killed, and we were going to lose equipment. Everything that we fight for and we try to achieve, we're going to lose all that. And just to say, well, I was ordered to not do well, then you know what? You need to have your rank stripped from me, and you need that Ranger tab, Millie, definitely pull from me, because that's horseshit. And I agree. It was
that guy. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And it's like the fact that there has not been like the fact that there has no one's been held accountable. The
no
person who has been held accountable for even just talking about Afghanistan is Schiller.
But we'll talk about it here, damn it.
Yeah,
we don't care.
It's the only person that has been held accountable for like something surrounding Afghanistan.
Amber, if nobody's going to get held accountable for them killing those Kabuli civilians for that drone strike, that was completely, that was murder. That was straight up murder or negligent homicide. Nobody's going to get held. You think anybody's going to get held accountable for living?
Righteous strike.
A righteous. Oh, we talked about that on this show when it happened.
Weeks and weeks and weeks to come clean on that. They knew right away. It was a secondary propane tank that exploded. They had it. They had video feed. They knew exactly what happened, and they didn't come clean about it for weeks. It was just such a political blunder. Like it was, you want to know what? Like with the Afghanistan withdrawal, what we saw was a little peek behind the curtain. Yeah. That's what everybody saw. And it was like, and then we saw, like damage control in terms with what they were trying to do. And there had to be some sort of agreement that there will not be a single person held responsible for Afghanistan, because that will only make us look worse if we admit some sort of failure. Instead, you still have Kirby talking about how it was a success in terms of the amount of people, the like biggest air evacuation. Okay, like what? Like good job. How about everything else?